everybody. I have been slowly tearing the car apart, finding all things broken. As you saw in the last video, we got the transmission out of the car because it had some gnarly looking fluid in it. I got that up on the bench. I've never torn down a 400 before. Power Glide, any of these Chevy V8 transmissions. Not my thing. Never done it before. We did this time. I've jumped a little far ahead. We got everything completely disassembled on the bench. And nobody told a lie when they said this thing's actually fairly easy to do. Now, mind you, I know there's a ton of measurements and tips and tricks and mods and seals that you leave on, seals you leave off, and gaps and shims, and like there's a ton of stuff that, you know, there's a reason why there are shops dedicated to just transmissions. But I wanted to go ahead and take it apart from my own knowledge, because especially if I'm going to do this drag week stuff and I hurt a pump or I burn a clutch out of it, I want to be able to at least slam something in on the side of the road and have the knowledge to be able to pull this thing apart and get it back together. Now, I have it all apart, and it's in order. So, you know, you got, it goes, well, I mean, the pump's in the wrong spot, but it's, you know, it's 1, 2, 3, this is in the wrong spot, and this is all part of this. I don't know all the names, forward drive, direct drive, but I don't know all the names. Sue me. Like I said, I got a book, though. And I do Google stuff, so I am trying to learn it on my own without looking like an asshole online. Now, I've run into a couple problems with it. My first problem is the converter. I couldn't get it all out of the transmission. I had to take a rubber mallet, turn this thing upside down, and beat it off. It was stuck on the input. Oh, God, I hate getting transmission fluid all over me. It was stuck on the input shaft here. I'm sorry. On the pump. So, I don't know what happened here. I don't know if, you know, this thing bottomed out and I messed up these splines, or if the converter's messed up. But this thing, you know, it looks like there's some hard, rough areas. Probably won't focus on this. I don't know if this pump's messed up or the converter. You know, it's really hard to see, obviously. Oh, just put flash. Oh, look, tools on the floor. Ugh, still haven't cleaned up. It's obviously hard to see down inside the converter to see if that's the issue. Granted, the converter looks fine. I don't see nothing. But, I mean, there's a ton of clutch material in there. What I did find, so that's problem number one. I took the pump apart. I don't feel anything. Like it looks like there's grooving, but I can't feel anything. And that's what I want to check, because if there's metal, you know, it's going to tear this apart, but it all feels fine. I don't feel any issues per se. It's just the splines. So I don't know if I can take a file to the front of these and get them straight. But like, even if I take the pump and try to stick it in there, it gets stuck instantly. Problem one. Problem two, forward drive. You can see little crispy critters here. Plenty of material left on it, but you can see it got hot. Hot. But, I mean, there's obviously worse. Everybody's done worse. But and it's stinky. Now, that goes back over there. This is a 34 element sprag in here, if I remember my specs correctly. And this is a steel drum. Oh shit, sorry. Oh shit, sorry. I do believe that I am going to upgrade to an aluminum drum while this is all apart. It's lighter, it's safer, this thing gets some RPMs going, and you could be in for a bad time if this comes apart and I don't have, you know, I have a stock case here. Nothing fancy, stock case. Oh, BTE sells a 36 element sprag with aluminum drum for like $400 something. I'm probably gonna get that, and I think I might upgrade the input shaft as well. Doubles it, so it's like $900 something. And I might just bring this all, if once I figure this out, whether I gotta buy a new pump or not, see if I'm gonna try to file those to fit so it slides in and out. And if those goes all together, I might bring this to Anthony at Accurate Trans. He's a local guy who does great work. And be like, can you assemble all this and make sure it's all good? Obviously replace those clutches and steels in the forward. And figure out why. He commented on my Facebook post and said there's a chance that I might, he's not familiar with the JW Performance trans brake. He goes, there's a chance that it doesn't have enough line pressure in reverse, and you might have to put it in neutral to hold down the trans brake to back up. He's not sure. I'm not sure. I never read anything. I haven't called JW to ask. But it might go to him. He's a professional. He builds a ton of badass transmissions for, everyone I know around here, he builds their transmissions for. So I'm going to pull it all apart. I'm going to clean it all up. Get it, everything in its own little case, separated bolts and everything, so I don't bring him just a bucket of crap and I'm like, help me and put this thing all back together and, you know, get it back in the car. And he's got a transmission dyno, so he can tell everything and anything that should be. You know, he can tell me, oh, yes, line pressure is low. You got to have this thing in neutral with the brake on to go in reverse. Or this shim is bad. Whatever. You know, he's the professional. I'm not. First time ever taken apart. That's there. That's going to get handled once I order some parts for that. All the other clutches look fine. If you count together as the rear end being completely torn apart and the transmission in a million pieces, it's together. If I really wanted to, I could start this and run this. Well, I took a payment for the whole turbo kit. Almost the whole turbo kit. He didn't want the turbo. He asked me if I would separate everything and keep the turbo as he has his own turbo, and I'm like, I wasn't going to separate the kit, but you know, the turbo's really universal, so I'll sell that separate. So I did take a payment for the entire turbo kit. I told him, I just tore a hole in my sock. I told him, give me a week. His payment's got to clear. I told him, give me a week. I got to get it off the car. I got to find boxes. I mean, he doesn't want the downpipe. The only really awkward part of this is going to be getting this stupid intercooler pipe in a box and not getting damaged. But he wanted the blow-off valve, he wanted the waste gates, he wanted all of that jazz. So that's all going to go. I was going to keep the waste gates and blow-off valves, but now it gives me the opportunity to upgrade to the new Turbo Smart stuff. They actually have like their Gen 5 compressed gas gates that are specifically meant for CO2. They're up to 1/8 inch ports now instead of these 1 16" MPT. Yeah, it's time to change plans again. Now, what I'm gonna do, I don't know. Well, that's a lie. I do know what I'm doing. What you don't know is what's going on. I have, and there was transmission fluid on everything. I don't know if you can see all the parts over there. Hold on. See the parts stacking up? That is for the new setup. And I'm going to show you what's going on. So the turbo kit's for sale. Turbo kit's sold. Turbo's for sale. Intake manifold's gonna. Oh, this guy wanted a throttle body too. I might take it. The intake manifold's gonna be for sale once I get it off the car. A lot of stuff for sale. We're changing setups yet again. But once we're gonna start to get this disassembled off here. Whoop. Tell me the bottle's still on. A week later, still, I don't think that gauge moved 2 pounds. They sealed that up nice and nice. Oh, we gotta get the intercooler out. This bar comes off. So we send them all the mounts. I believe that's 9/16 for all those. I didn't want to take the car apart yet. I wanted to have everything. But the kit did sell, and I do need the money to buy other stuff. The only reason this is going down like it's going down. And it's still early. It's only October, and I have a good amount of the parts to start. Alright. Coolers off. Whew. Cooler true, I hit my fender well with. Great. Oh, and I'll take some more pictures of that intercooler. It's the first intercooler I built, and I was so nervous building this thing and building the end tanks, and you know, I've seen professionals build intercoolers and then blow them all apart, and I was so nervous because I'm far from the best welder, but man, I was superbly impressed that I never broke this thing. 28 pounds through it, and it held it just fine. Alright, so it's all blown apart. Where I left off. Steam port kit's off because it doesn't fit. The fuel regulator bracket, whole high ram. This is all for sale, by the way. I'm selling this as a whole kit. If you're interested, it's not cheap. I want a lot of money for it. Yeah, so we have started on the new setup, which is partly under here. It's partly in there, it's partly in there, it's partly in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it all on, and we'll just reveal it at once, and we'll talk about it. How's that sound? Ta-da! How sweet is this? Obviously, you can see everything has changed. Got me a Sheriff Fab 1800 horsepower air to water low profile intercooler. Big old, I think these are 16 ORBs. I bought a Scotty Wheels Racing. Took care of me. I sent it straight to Joe at Dieter's Custom Finishing. And I didn't even see this thing. And he just, I mean, it's, look at this thing. It's insane. It's freaking insane. Also, it's now sitting on a low ram, dual injector. No, I'm not using 2 injectors. Holley sucks. Besides EFI, this is my last Holley part on the car, and if I could figure out a way around it, I would. But I ordered a single injector low ram manifold back in May, planning on this. Kept pushing it back, and said screw it. They had a double in stock in black. Canceled the order on the other one and bought this. So it's got a dual injector. So what I'll do is I'll just cap this off, and they Race Part Solution sells injector dummies in here. I've got a test injector in there. Yeah, so it's on a Holley lower. It is low. I think I'm going to see if I can grind out this casting support right here, just so I can fit a fuel line under it. We've also switched throttle bodies. See the old throttle body there? We have now upgraded to the new Billy Badass Motion Raceworks Icon 102. This thing is, it's stout. It is. Now, I'm sure everybody else is like me, and it's like, damn, that thing is expensive. And I did the same thing, and I'm like, damn, that thing's expensive. I guarantee you, the second you put your hands on it, and you get this box right here, made in the USA, all those fears will be gone. Because when I opened that box and I actually got my hands on this thing, I mean, the machine work is just, it's insane. I have it flipped. Oh, none of this is bolted down. It's just all chilling. But it's, if you haven't seen it, it's fully modular. So I have the quick clamp on it. But what's cool about this is, see that? Look how short that thing is. This is, they have a fully modular design. They got like 10 or 12 different, sorry, putting that back on right now. They got like 10 different attachments. So this is just a 4-inch with the quick seal. They have like a 3-inch quick seal. They have a 4-inch regular silicone coupler. They have a 4-inch V-band. They have a hard 94-inch, hard 93-inch. They have a twin turbo one. Like the options are almost endless here, but comes with a price. So you can change the attachments and select it when you buy the throttle body. This is the 4-inch, but what's nice about theirs is, so you got the quick pin here, right? I don't want to drop it. Theirs is a 3-piece clamshell instead of a 2-piece, so you can wrap it around tight areas. Well, the clamshell, oh god, it's gonna, I'm gonna do this over here. Let's put this down. I'm gonna put you back on the tripod for a second, so I can have 2 hands. So if you don't know the clamshell, right? If you haven't seen these clamps before, they're very common in the racing industry, diesel industry, like they're very, they're used on a million different things. So they have to do a 3-piece, which is pretty cool. So you have this part's bolted to your throttle body, this is welded to your pipe, to your intercooler tube, or whatever you want to call it, because my intercooler's after this, so intake. This black thing right here is just a holder. It's O-ringed. And then it holds that together. And what I'm pretty sure with these, because I welded some vibrance in on my last car, you're supposed to have a very tiny gap with these, like 1/8 inch. Sorry, camera. And this is supposed to seal it. And what that allows to do is contraction, expansion, and a little bit of movement. And this is obviously easier with it bolted to a car than trying to get it all. But it's nice because you don't need any tools to take off your charge pipe. I'm really having a struggle with this thing off the car. This thing just keeps cocking on me. Because I can't, like, push it on straight. Try to do it one-handed. Not one-handed, but... There we go. You don't need to be perfect. Because once you get your clamp situated and wrapped around, it'll straighten it out. And then you just take your pin, a little quick push pin. Now you can, I don't see it on this one. I've seen ones with holes with lanyards in it, so you don't lose it. So that thing is by far the nicest throttle body. I've had an AccuFab before, and I've had a Wilson, and I've had that. But, oh God, as I break it all, I should probably put a screw into this. Yeah, you know, I've had it, like I said, I had Wilson and stuff like this, and this is by far the nicest one I've ever bought. So you end up welding this piece to your intake tube. What else? Have you noticed what else is different? That's right, valve covers. I sold off the Holley valve covers. These are Winchester Metalworks fabricated aluminum, 1 3/4 inch, holds LS3, and how nice those things are. Another made in America. See the theme we're going with here? One thing that's not made in America right now is this stupid lower. But has fill cap here. Come on. Yeah. So the problem is I contacted Mark, and he's like, I'm like, I want to get in your valve covers this go around. He's like, okay. He goes, the problem is I'm 8 months out if you order from me. So he sent me a link. His stuff gets sold on Eastwood. Let's see, yeah. Eastwood. So he sent me the link. He's like, these are LS standard height, his standard height. Oil cap, LS 3/4. He goes, the problem is there's no fittings on them. He told me he would weld the fittings on for me if I sent it to him. But what I want to do is ship them to me, see where I actually want the fitting to be. Because it can go anywhere, you know, so I don't want him to just be like, okay, I'm going to put it here, and it screws with my whole setup. I got to get the other 4 coils out, screw them down, and see. Because I don't know where the catch can is going to be. It might stay there, it might move. But I'm not telling you what we're doing here. Maybe we are doing a Pro Charger. Maybe we're doing a nice center mount, 98. Maybe we're doing twins. Maybe twins up front. You're going to have to stick around and find out about that. But it will be force inducted. No nitrous, no NA. Nitrous. But yeah, this thing is, I mean, look at this thing. The cooler itself is a really slick piece. The tooling is amazing. Another thing about these rails is you can flip these, right, and gain clearance front or back. I think it's like a 1/4 inch you can gain. So when I originally dropped this on, this fuel line was hitting the manifold, and I was able to flip this fuel rail, and it pushed it back a 1/4 inch. Adam let me know about that, because this one I had to flip vice versa because I couldn't get to my transmission dipstick. fitting was in the way because this is the fuel line off the high ram. One thing I wanted to do was measure the heights. So from the top of the engine block, with this, I'm at just under 12 and a half, right? I'll move this mat out of the way. Oh, very close. It's maybe 12 and a half. Yeah. So they're very, very similar in height. So if you go this route, you don't have to be scared about your hood or anything, because I did not want to cut a hole in my hood. So this will still fit underneath the hood. Now, this is going to go out to Joe, right? This clamp. These are going to go out to Joe. This is going to go out to Joe. Joe at Dieter's. I can't say it enough. Make sure you jump on Facebook and Instagram. Dieter's Custom Finishing. He sent me some shirts. King of Bling. And my accidental show car. So, oh, that's not it. Look at this. Sorry. I got like 4 t-shirts down here. There you go. So if you want any of the best polishing out there, chroming, plating, I think he's getting into powder coating. Don't hold me to that. I'm not 100%. I can't. He's getting into something else. I don't remember what it was. But, I mean, he polished this for me. He polished. This is chrome plated. This is chrome plated. This is polished. This is polished. This is dirty as hell right now, but that's polished. And that's polished. The work speaks for itself. Well, guys, there's a taste of the new setup of what we're doing. Back to air to water. You know, the air to air was okay. It wasn't the greatest, but the problem with the air to air is when I would get stuck in the staging lanes, and like this happened in Indy, and it was just a really long line, and they just had you creeping slowly forward. It was like 60-something degrees, and by the time I got to the starting line, my intake temps were like 110 just from creeping, which the air-to-air would have been fine had I not had a closed bumper. If I had an open bumper, it was fine, because it would only pick up 50 degrees on a pass behind a closed bumper. So, I mean, like, I can't talk bad about the air-to-air, but I'm not cutting my bumper open. So I'm going to see if I can take the water cooler lines, go through here, down into the trunk, another 5-gallon tank, and rock with the air to water, and be better in control of my intake air temps on situations like that. He wanted to polish this alternator last year. He might get it this year, because now that it's up so high. And this, another thing about this is the throttle body doesn't even make it past the belt anymore. The throttle body used to be out like here before. Now it's this far back. So that might go out now. So guys, it's early in the season. Get in the garage, grab a cold drink. I'm gonna go upstairs and eat some dinner, stare at this a little bit more. Have a good night. See you in the next one.